Running starts. Not only do they showcase a high level of board control and get you where you're going faster with less effort, but they're also cool. They're the starts to many skaters' favorite tricks in street parts. They can be done slowly just to get you going, or they can be done with vigor to try and get going as fast as possible. And if you're already a good rider, if you can balance solidly on one foot, push with a decent amount of speed, tic-tac, pivot, monster walk, hippie jump while rolling, etc., then you should be able to learn how to do a running start without too much difficulty. But trust me, you really want to be a good rider because it can help so much when you have an accidental bad throwdown and need to adjust really quickly. A running start requires confidence, and if you don't naturally have it, the best thing to do is build some up beforehand by working on those riding skills first, or in tandem with some of the earlier steps of running starts. So without further ado, let's break down the basics and go over my simple 4-step method to start learning this skill. Start by holding the nose of your skateboard with your leading hand and hold the board in front of your leading leg. If you skate regular, this will be your left hand and left leg, the leg that you're standing on while you push. If you skate goofy, this will be your right hand and your right leg. My thumb is always on the grip in about the center of the board, and then my fingers wrap around the graphic on the bottom. This helps me get a good guide on the nose as the board falls, but what is most important is that your grip feels comfortable. As you walk or run forward, you hold the board out in front of you, catch it around the bolts with your leading foot as it drops, and push off with your back foot, jumping onto the already moving skateboard. But don't worry, we can break this down nicely, starting with 7 quick tips. 1. Try not to drop the deck out to the side of your hip. You want the deck to be either in front of your leading leg or more towards the center of your body so that when you drop the board, you're going with it and you're not jumping to the side. 2. Hold the board out in front of you a bit, away from your body. You want to hold it out in front of you so that while you're walking, the deck is going to be where your foot naturally goes. 3. I would like to warn skaters with loose trucks that this might be a little more difficult in the beginning, and you're going to want to be even more diligent about where you step down with that leading foot. Because if you accidentally step too far to the side of the deck, the board might turn rather sharply and throw you off. 4, of course, you also want to make sure that you're dropping the board as straight as possible. You don't want to drop the board at an angle because it's going to roll in that direction instead of directly in front of you. 5, when jumping onto the board, you don't need to throw it to the ground. You can just let it go. Gravity and momentum will take care of most of this trick. 6, you want to aim for the center of the board and around the back front bolts, or better yet, just below it. I find that this area right here is the most stable for jumping onto the board. You don't want to jump down too close to the nose and risk popping your back wheels off of the ground, but then, at least early on, you don't want to be jumping too close to the center of the board as that's also going to feel unstable for us. I find that this area is the most stable part of your board and often the best place to be standing in general, so do your best to aim here. 7, as I got better at this trick, I personally aimed to have my foot make contact with the deck before the front wheels touch the ground. You can see here that my foot is actually touching the grip before it hits, and then push forward through that momentum. I think it helps me go faster as opposed to letting the board hit the ground first and just stepping on it. But this takes a lot of time, and a lot of confidence, and a lot of practice. Also, there's plenty of times when I'm just jumping onto the board, not trying to optimize speed, and the front wheels hit first. I do think it's better to try to catch the board first though, as it seems to make stepping onto the board one nice smooth motion, as the running start is really about timing. You want to drop the board, catch it, and push off really smoothly in one flowing motion, and this will give you a nice, stable, and speedy start. The method that I used to learn this skill is really quite simple. 4 easy steps so that even a newer skater can start working towards this. Step 1 is all about getting better at stepping onto the board and jumping onto the board. You want this motion to feel really good and confident so that you can step on the board or jump on the board without any fear whatsoever. After all, jumping onto the board is the absolute foundation of this skill, and we need to be able to do it while the board is still on the ground if we ever expect to be able to throw the board down and jump on it while we're moving. Step 2 is to start while standing still. Hold the board out in front of you in the starting position, but keep it rather low to the ground and just step on the bolts. Use your foot to push the board out of your hand into the ground and push forward. It's a bit of a modified start. We're trying to get used to stepping on the board in the right spot and smoothing out the transition between the board hitting the ground and pushing off. We want it to be one smooth, easy transition. Step 3 is to graduate to a little walk. Take a few steps and push the board out of your hand again, but this time while moving. And you can do this as slowly as you want to. The important thing is that we work up. You can keep the wheels nice and low. You can drag your tail if you want to. You can do whatever it takes. Just stay here until this step is no longer intimidating. Step 4 is to stop pushing the deck out of your hand and try timing the drop with stepping onto the board. Once again, you can keep the board a little lower at first, and over time try to do it more and more upright, and then try to do it faster and faster until you feel good about running and throwing the board down. You can take these steps and these tips as quickly or slowly as you want to. Just keep in mind that this is a guide to get you started. Go watch your favorite skaters and see how they do it, and also progress in a way that's comfortable and suits your needs. Keep practicing, take it as slow as you need to, and you'll be able to do a running start most likely in no time. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video.